Welcome to our program. Thank you for joining us on our show. You've joined me as we connect with VIPIN Sachdev. Now, VIPIN Sachdev has made a huge name for himself. In fact, he's a leading restaurant owner in our city. Just starting restaurant after restaurant. I mean, it's not everybody who can start 5 restaurants in 2.5 years. And so it's our pleasure to have him with us on our program. Thank you so much, VIPIN, for joining me today.
My pleasure.
Now, 20 years before this, you were in the printing industry. So was there some little dream that was being nurtured there to set up stuff like you're doing now?
No, actually, it was a calling.
Really?
One fine day in 2005, I went home and I said to my wife, I don't want to die an unhappy man. And she said, what's wrong? I said, I have led this life for 25 years doing the same work. It's become pretty boring. Even though it's financially good, everything is there, the luxury is there, but it was boring. So I didn't want to die an unhappy man, and that's the reason from next morning, I did not go to work. It took 3 days for the city to realize, including my brothers, and they all said, what's wrong with you? I said, there's nothing wrong with me.
They probably thought you're crazy.
Yeah, they thought. I said, there's nothing wrong. I don't want to die an unhappy man. What will you do? I'll do whatever comes by. And I came into this industry by accident.
Really?
Yes.
Why then? Tell me, explain that to me, because how does one, I mean, it's a pretty effective accident, I must confess.
My wife used to coincidentally run a Subway restaurant, which was the American brand. She had one restaurant in Spencer Plaza. And when this happened, I was at home doing nothing for more than 15 days, and she fell ill, very badly ill for 6 months. So somebody had to run that business, and I started going there. And I loved it. I loved meeting that many people every day, 250, 300 people every day. Even though the bill amount is minuscule, keeping in mind what I used to raise bills in the printing industry. But here I would feel happy seeing those emotions of those customers when they eat. Are they feeling happy? Are they feeling delighted? Or are they not liking it? And yes, if I see their face, they're not liking it, I would go to them and explain and try to sell the concept of a Subway sandwich. Right. So I would love it. And
then you opened, of course, after that, many other Subways.
Yes.
In
I
all over the
more
place.
Than a dozen actually, 12 Subways. I was the largest Subway restaurateur in India. And then I gave a few of them to my best run managers. I sold it sub-franchise to them.
How wonderful.
Because I love those managers. They were doing great jobs. And they wanted to, you know, get an opportunity in life to come out.
To start their own.
Start their own. And I realized somebody helped me. Okay, why can't I help them? And I did that for 3 of them. And so today I run 9 of my own.
That's really wonderful. Now tell me about these specialty restaurants that you've sort of almost made it a habit to start. I mean, 5 restaurants in 2.5 years. It's quite an incredible achievement.
People say I'm a workaholic. So maybe,
well, you must be to be so successful.
Yes. And that's the reason I want to do something new, something risky. I don't want to be I don't want to follow anybody. Which is why we opened this restaurant. And then it was a standalone restaurant, that to a Italian, that to a mid-end, not a high-end, not a low-end, mid-end. And it succeeded, the first one called Toscana Pizzeria. And we tried the wood-fired pizza concept in that. And people loved it, 90% people loved it, 10% did not love it. But those 10%, I would educate them that your tongue all this time has been, adulterated with the American pizza concept with the thick base, with spread with cheese. So our pizzas don't have cheese. They have only 1/4 the amount the American pizza has. I was able to convince even those 10% that this is an acquired taste for you. Do it the second time on me and you would love it after that.
That in fact brings me to the point of you actually being a trailblazer, because it's quite a risk to take. I mean, because you're introducing foods that are people are not that familiar with. I mean, it's Italian, it's Greek, and it's kind of cuisines that are not necessarily familiar to our Indian palates.
But that's what is life about. Even in my printing industry, the risks that my brothers and me took in 1984, I yet remember the other printers said, you people will go bust. Okay, we invested in technology. You'll go bust. Yes, it was a lot of money those days, but we did not go bust. So if I believe in that concept, and I believe I am giving them international taste in India, authentic taste, okay, authentic which they would love. Now there's a difference here. Some people have authentic Chinese, but the people don't love it here.
It's definitely not. Yes, true.
So who cares? I don't care about authenticity of Chinese. I don't like it. So get me a Chinese which I would love, and yet it has to be authentic. Okay, so same way we got them Italian, okay, authentic. Yes, 10 to 15% did not like it, but we overcame that and, you know, told them the reality with comparisons, that they thought that yes, all these days they have been eating something which they shouldn't have been eating, and this is here now.
Right. Okay.
So they loved it.
Right.
So it was a challenge. Yes, it was hard work, but then
Very much.
leaders will do that, and I wanted to do that. Otherwise, life would be boring again.
Right. Now, tell me, when it comes to customers, what sort of people actually come? I mean, you said mid, you know, like a mid-level.
Yes.
The prices are not necessarily very mid-level, but is that the way the market functions?
To me, the type of customers that come to our restaurants, you can see them from upper middle class, the upper class,
Yes.
and even the low middle class.
Really?
Today, the low middle class, I'll give you an example. If two people go to our restaurant, eat a decent meal. Okay. Eat a decent meal, it costs about 1200 rupees. That's 600 rupees a head. In a star hotel, it may cost far more.
Right.
Okay. Yes, there are cheaper options available, but that for authentic, healthier concept in an environment which is great, with great ambience, and the most important is the service, my people. If you meet my boys, if they serve you once, you will fall for them and come back again, not only for the food, for those boys and girls who are working there.
Do you think that has been, in fact, a failing in many of
Yes.
our places here in India,
Yeah, I
where
think-
the food might be really good, but if somebody doesn't serve it to you with a smile or with politeness, that is a drawback, isn't it?
I don't blame those boys or girls who are doing the job. I personally blame companies that do not respect the human being, but respect everything else. They buy, it can be even for a restaurant, it can be for a showroom, it can be for a big company. They buy the best furniture from Italy. They hire an architect from New York. They buy the lights from some part of the world. They buy cutlery, crockery from some part of the world. And then they don't get people, okay, or they do not invest on training of the people, and they do not pay fair salaries, okay. I don't do that. To me, the most important reason that I am running well is not that floor tile or not that table or chair.
True.
It's a person there. He makes great food in the kitchen. There are people in the back end, in the support department, who support him from purchase to engineering to accounts. They support him, so he's able to make great food, and the service boys are able to serve it.
Right. You mentioned earlier about actually training your people.
Yes.
So now, are you actually training them in people skills, not necessarily laying
No.
down cutlery and crockery?
We believe that all these boys and girls, 99% are having education background from the hospitality industry.
Right.
So in the colleges, they have been taught everything technical.
No practical
No
stuff.
practical and no soft skills.
That's right.
So we invest our time on soft skills, and practical lessons are given there. Soft skills to me are very important.
Yes.
There's a book called You Can Win. It says,
Shiv Khera.
yeah, Shiv Khera.
We interviewed him on this
Okay,
program, yes,
yeah.
a couple of weeks ago.
He's a wonderful gentleman.
Yes, he is.
85% of success does not come from formal education. It comes from attitude.
Right.
Now these young boys and girls, they get to see so much of negative activity on the television and in the newspapers every day. Negative. There's a lot of negative
Yes.
news in the
True
television.
indeed.
The breaking news is some corruption scandal. He made so much of money. Scams.
Scams,
So
yes.
what are these boys getting as to learn? Okay, they have learnt little bit with regard to the food in the colleges. With about life, they have learnt everything wrong from the news. It becomes our responsibility to correct them and make them understand that you work smart here, you'll come up in life.
Right, you
There's
made
no shortcut.
Right, you've made a very interesting point there. Vipin, I'm going to ask you to hang on for just a very short while. We'll come back and talk about precisely that point. And you please don't go anywhere. We'll go for a very short break on here on We Connect and get right back with you.